Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Formula. This is our 8 best ball buys episode. So we're going to be going through, and based off of their current ADP, we're going to give you, each of us are going to give you 2 players that we think you should be buying at their current ADP. These are guys we think that may rise by the time, July and August come, or even if they don't rise, we still think they're buys. So, Corey, do you want to start us off here with number 8?
Number 8, we got our favorites player to talk about, most bipolar, but most not bipolar.
Controversial.
Polarizing.
Polarizing.
Yeah, polarizing. Polaroid.
We got the most interesting man in the world right now. And that is going to be DeSean Watson. His current ADP on Underdog. This is all stuff off of Underdog's ADP website sites. Going to be DeSean Watson. He's coming at 73.9, so the 73, 74 range in terms of where he's being taken. That puts him at the QB 9 off the board. So in terms of, where we are right now, and obviously, his performance last year was not subpar. It was not great. Like we've referenced beforehand. I think with him, with another year under his belts, getting back into the game flow, being comfortable in Cleveland, I think he can. I honestly think he can end up as a top 5 quarterback, in the league this year with, what they have built around him. They have a solid offense, and he sells a rushing upside as well. There's a couple quarterbacks in front of him who don't have the upside with their legs. So at 73. I think he can definitely, this is a good place to buy him right now.
All right. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think people just are taking their own personal bias into it and they just don't like him. But where he's going in drafts, I think he's definitely a value. All right, Alex.
Yeah. So I've got Brandon Cooks here. Current ADP is around the 84 range, which puts him at wide receiver. Is this right? Wide receiver 41. So Brandon Cooks has put up 1,000+ yards in 6 of the 9 seasons that he's played in the league. The 3 years that he didn't were his rookie year, a year where he had Jared Goff throwing him the ball, and last year with all of the Texans quarterbacks and whatever was going on there. So I think him and CeeDee Lamb are going to present some matchup nightmares for DBs. They're, I think, going to be pretty interchangeable in terms of playing the inside and the outside. And I think they're going to be put in leverage spots. And Cooks hasn't really been on a team recently where he has been the number 2 guy. So he's seen a lot of double teams and not great quarterback play. Both of which he's getting an upgrade in, and so I think he's going to be probably closer to like wide receiver 35-30 here towards the start of the season, and finish around there as well.
All righty. Oh, my next? Shoot, didn't even look at the list here. Okay, number 3, David Montgomery. Right now he's going at pick 86, kind of the beginning of the 8th round, which is RB 27 currently on Underdog. And I think a lot of this is just because they drafted Gibbs pretty early. But, Detroit has one of the best offensive lines in the league. Gibbs is, I think he'll be utilized in the pass catching game a lot more, but I think David Montgomery is still going to be that guy on the goal line. We saw Jamal Williams lead the league in touchdowns last year. Now David Montgomery, who I believe is more talented than him, is kind of going to be that short yardage back. So I think David Montgomery could easily be a top 20 running back. So I'm taking him quite often in this range to get my either like 2nd or 3rd running back, or if I'm going a 0 running back strategy, I like getting him as my first one.
Definitely.
All right, Nick.
All right. On to another winner here. We have DJ Chark. He is currently ranked as wide receiver 61. For a guy who is debatably going to be the wide receiver one on the Carolina Panthers, I think this is maybe one of the best values you could get in a late round underdog draft. Their only other options right now are Adam Thielen, who's like going to be 33 years old when the season starts, and Jonathan Mingo, who's a rookie. So he's kind of the only proven guy on this roster that's like still in his prime. And I think they obviously have the number one pick, throwing him the ball. So I really like his chances here. I think for a flyer this late, like I'm even drafting him ahead of his ADP a little bit, maybe a round or two, because I think he is, for like one of the last rounds of a draft, the best value you could get, potential wide receiver one, like I was saying. So look no further than DJ Chark to win your underdog drafts.
Yeah, I've been targeting him a ton, whenever you can get like potential wide receiver ones this late, I mean, you just gotta smash them, especially when guys like I'm trying to think of guys going around him, but it's pretty ugly. So yeah, I love him. All right, Corey.
Yep, coming in here at this is number 4 on our buy list of we haven't talked about tight end yet, so we will jump in here with Tyler Higbee. Currently, right now, he is the 19th tight end taken off the board with his ADP around 150 or 160, sorry, which is really surprising in terms of, I know last year he was really like the only target on that team in terms of the receiving options. I mean, last year he finished 4th among tight ends in targets with 108, 72 receptions, 620 receiving yards, and the measly 3 touchdowns, which obviously burns you in the end there because we know tight ends, if it's not the top 3, touchdowns are really what's going to drive up their value. Now, in terms of tight ends going before him, I'm just going to quickly throw this out there because it's pretty nutty to name some of these tight ends. Taysom Hill, who's, the gadget player, is ahead of him. Juwan Johnson, he came on late last year. Dawson Knox. And then even higher than that, you got a couple crazy ones like Chig, Okonkwo from the Titans, Greg Dulcich.
Nailed it.
It's just crazy that some of these tight ends are going before him. I think he can be production-wise with Matthew Stafford behind the in the quarterback position there again and not hurt. I think you can kind of see where he finished when they went on their Super Bowl run 2 years ago, where he finished extremely high and was very productive. I think 160 is way too low for him. I think he should be probably like top 12 tight end right now in my eyes.
All right.
Yep. All right. So next guy we got on the board here is Samaje Perine. Current ADP is 116-ish, putting him at RB 38. So Samaje Perine obviously moves on from the Cincinnati Bengals to the Denver Broncos this offseason. When he was on the Bengals, he put up 3 top 10 running back fantasy finishes, week 11 through 13, 2 of those being top 5 finishes while Mixon was hurt. You've got some conflicting reports coming out of Denver about Javonte Williams' return timetable, how healthy he actually is. And I think even when he does return, they're still likely to split carries. Javonte's knee injury was very serious, and so I don't think they're going to be rushing him back into that bell cow position that we thought he might see last year. On top of that, obviously Sean Payton gets in there this year. Sean Payton loves to run the ball. He was top 5 in rushing attempts in 3 of his last 5 seasons with New Orleans. And so I think Samaje is an extremely solid late round gamble with an ADP like this. Another guy, if you go hero 0 RB, another guy to target late here.
All right. Yeah, I love Perine. The only worry is like if they sign a vet, but this is still a guy you take a chance on because he should still get a bunch of the work there in Denver.
They're definitely going to sign a vet. I mean, it's just who they sign.
Right.
I mean, it's possible they don't, but I still think where he's going, like he's still going to have some type of role.
No, for sure.
So All right, at number 2, we got Daniel Jones. Right now, his ADP is at 102. Like it's actually falling from like where I've seen him go earlier in the year, which I think is wild to me. Last year, he was a top 9 fantasy quarterback. He was a top 5 fantasy quarterback in the last half of the regular season. And right now, he's going at as quarterback
13.
Yeah, I believe yeah, he's going as quarterback 14. And I think that's like his absolute floor. Like I really cannot see someone who just got Darren Waller. They have way better pass catchers than they had last year. I mean, he was throwing to absolutely nobody. And, another year in that offense under Dable, he's my favorite quarterback to target currently. I like their playoff schedule in best ball. I think they play the Rams in week 17, which is obviously the biggest week that you play for in these drafts because so much of the prizes are won in that final week. So, I mean, Daniel Jones, I do not see how he doesn't beat his current ADP. Draft him everywhere you can until he starts to get into, I know, like beneath DeSean Watson or at least around there.
Everyone forgets his rushing upside too.
Yeah, I mean, this is what he's exactly what you're looking. He's like the prime, and what's crazy about this year is we've seen these elite quarterbacks completely jump to like the second and third. I mean, you have Justin Fields going in like third. We'll get to him later. You have Mahomes, Hurts out. They're going in like the second round now.
Yeah.
I mean, so those guys all jumped up, but then you still have, guys like DeSean Watson and Daniel Jones, who we both talked about on the show, that have the same, maybe not exactly as much upside, but they're there to like stay in the conversation of finishing as a top 5 quarterback at the position. And you're getting there so much later where you can take such a valuable receiver running back in the second round instead. So,
I mean, who would have thought a white guy from Duke could be running around back there and being productive on the ground? Not me.
He's all right. And last but not least, Nick, our number 1 guy.
Okay. Before announcing the name here, we're going to play a little game. Would you take a running back who had the third easiest strength of schedule and who also averaged as a starter 20 fantasy points a game? Where would you take him draft wise in a normal draft? First couple rounds? Yeah. What do we think?
Yeah, it would be like a third rounder.
All right. Probably. Now, what if I told you could get this guy at 100 ADP?
Well, I think
would you take him?
He's crept up. I think he's creeping
might
up.
Be creeping up, but
he's at 90 now.
We got ourselves Alexander Madison. He's going to be the winner of all best ball drafts. Like if you don't have this guy in the 8th or 9th round, like you're missing out big time. Let me tell you, if you haven't been paying attention this offseason, Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings are going through a Tom and Giselle level breakup right now. They're not paying him. He wants out. It's done. Okay. The divorce papers are filed, and Alexander Madison is going to be a starting running back. And what has he done every time that he's started a game? He's gotten 20 fantasy points on average. Lock it in.
Yeah. He's definitely got to be the biggest buy right now. And until that news comes out, then he's going to skyrocket to the 4th round, 3rd round.
Yeah. Just when it's going to happen, who knows? If it happens, who knows? I mean, it's more likely to happen than not to happen. So get him while it's hot.
Yeah.
Or while it's not, I should say.
It's crazy to think that like in today's day and age, those things like Twitter banners actually make a real life difference. Like that actually plays a factor into certain things. It's crazy.
It's true. All right. Well, that will wrap up our players to buy at current ADP. In our next episode, we will be telling you 8 players we think you should be selling and not drafting at all at current ADP. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.